Hello and welcome to the Presenter Mastery Podcast. I'm Lucas, CEO of Headgain and amateur speaker.
And I'm David, expert speaker.
And together, we're your weekly guides through unlocking the power of presentation skills. And in today's episode, David, before we dive into it, I just want to acknowledge that this week has been a lot.
Oh.
I mean, we've done everything from broadcasting a new webinar to you standing on stage. Were you in 3 different countries this week?
Yeah, traveling a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, just all over the place.
Yeah.
It's 6 countries last week, I think.
6?
Yes. Mm-hmm. And 4 coming up the next week.
What are you doing when you're out and about?
I am currently launching the book, High on Life. A bit all over the place. So I'm going to be on the Polish news next week.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's very fun. Not just news, but it's like a morning sofa thing.
Uh-huh.
So that's going to be good. And Romania. Then I'll do keynotes. Well, that's my profession, People call me, hey, can you come over for half an hour on the other side of the world? I'm like, fair enough.
Yeah, well, it seems a lot of people have moved away from digital now and into more in-person training. Is that what you're seeing as well?
I'd say so, but Wednesday we had like 2 keynotes digitally for our companies or our customers. But yeah, definitely trending away from digital. Like during COVID, I think we were doing like 20 digital broadcasts a month from here.
Yeah.
And now we're doing 3 or 4. So yeah. It's just normal, I think.
Yeah, it seems like every week not every week, but every month during COVID, we did one new investment in the studio.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It was new lights. We need to do this. Oh, we're moving it because it needs to be bigger.
A smoke machine.
It's a smoke machine.
And disco lights. And I was just going to buy lasers. And then COVID kind of just plateaued.
You wanted lasers?
I wanted lasers, because we had the smoke machines. So that'd been cool.
That's true. It's true. Yeah, the disco lights don't do it fully.
No,
you need laser as well.
Next level.
All right. This week we did something else. We did a webinar for Presenter Mastery. And we did it purely for everyone that was on our email list. So it was a full back-end event. And I wanted to dive in a little bit on what happened during this webinar, because usually what we've done is we try different ways of working together, right? Me and Marcus, we've been writing out the full webinar. We're talking about the topics, what we see that people are interested in, what bullets we think will be most valuable.
Yep.
And then we've slowly transitioned into this last version where basically I just said, you know what? I want the top 3 skills that will make a presenter into the top 1% in the world. And yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah.
That's me. I didn't write more than that. I think I sent you 3 bullets as examples of what you could talk about. And then it was more or less just freehand to you.
Yeah.
And what was interesting to me was it was a really good webinar on Wednesday. I mean, we had 500 people in the room. Yeah. I think it was really good energy and it was spot on. People were really excited about what they were learning. And it got me thinking, and I wanted you to be able to share that as well in the podcast. What was your process from that? Because as we said, it's also been so much going on at the same time. I think we did this, I think you had a week.
Yeah.
And if you could just walk us through the process of...
Was it a week? I thought it was a day.
Well, basically, I think I sent you what I wanted, and then I know we debated it back and forth a bit, and then I do believe you kind of built it in a day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, how does that process work for you, and what did you do to come up with what you were going to do?
What you've done before is you've given me fairly strict framework of... Start by saying this, go into that, go into this, go into that, end like this, add this, remember that. And as soon as there's a lot of stuff that isn't intuitive to you, it becomes stressful because it's just not automatic to you to do it. It's almost, I guess, like gardening. And if you've gardened your garden in a particular way for the last 10 years, it's almost like a meditative thing, it's almost like meditation gardening. But then this expert gardener comes in and goes like, no, you have to prune the bushes in this particular way, on this particular day, on this particular time, in this particular sunshine. And you have to do it in combination with the grass and the soil. And you have to do this and this and this and this. And then suddenly it moves away from this meditative stage, which still kept the garden beautiful, into something that has to be perfect. But it's not really perfect because it's not really an extension of your own personality. So what you wanted me to do before was do something perfect, but it wasn't like in line with who I was. So now when you said, hey, 3 things that makes a person the top 1% presenter in their company or as a public speaker, I built that. It wasn't a week, it wasn't a day, it was 2 hours. I just sat down and I thought to myself, when I look at the best presenters, what's the difference? What do they do differently? How do they behave differently? And I just sat thinking, I think, for about 20 minutes. And then it occurred to me that it's quite simple, It's these 3 things that make them different. There are other things as well, but there are other kind of presenters. But the ones I like and the ones that have become truly great and successful, these 3 things, So that's my thought process. And as soon as I'd figured out these 3 things, I went into Google Docs and I kind of scripted down 3 things per thing. Yeah, so a total of 9. And then I asked myself, how do I want to present these 9 things? Because the thing that what a lot of people do incorrectly is that they jump straight into PowerPoint, but PowerPoint is just one spice. So you should look at these 9 things that you want to present and ask yourself, how do I want to convey them with various kinds of spices? Well, this thing number 1, I could actually show in a PowerPoint because that makes sense. Thing number 2, that would be better as a prop. So I'm going to bring in this bottle or this glass or this brain and use that as a prop to explain number 2. Number 3, I'm just going to tell a story, man. Just a story, nothing else. Just me and a story. And then the 4th thing, and then the 5th and the 6th and 7th and 8th and 9th. And then when I had that figured out, I built the slides necessary for it. I grabbed the props. I went through the workshop in my head. I love simulating them in my head. I prefer that way, way, way more than actually like physically doing a rehearsal, going through it in my head, because then I can quickly rewind in a different way. It's like, no, I'll do that. I'll do this. I'll do that. And then I'll jump into the end. I'll change the beginning. Doing that in a live rehearsal is too tedious, takes too much time. So just simulate it in my head. And then I think the most important thing is when you actually go up and present it on stage, in this case, in front of cameras, you go back to what this will mean to the people you give it to. How tremendously powerful it can be to them to learn this, to understand this, to know this. And with that kind of emotion, you just go into it and it flows well from that emotion.
I was just sitting and writing because it's interesting. I've never. I think this is why the difference is how we wrote it before and now how you do it.
Yeah.
Because there's such a difference. Like we looked at the 3 things and then we went deeper into kind of the meaning of them or what we wanted as the outcome, but we never figured out the 3 things within the 3 or how to actually present them.
Yeah,
so it's really interesting to just listen to this and write it down. Could you tell me, based on the 3 and the 9 things, what were the extras that you did instead of just PowerPoint? Because I know you tried to get the school board down, but it stuck in a way.
Yeah.
So I guess that was one.
Yeah.
What were the other ones? Do you?
Well, we did story twice. We did exercise twice.
You did the distinct gestures.
Yeah, the distinct gesture. I showed them how to do a particular gesture and they copied me and felt the difference. And then we did the prop, the curtain coming down. And then we had slides. We had video. Questions. I don't really think anymore about the spices I use. It just comes so naturally to me. But when I look at a video like this, if I'd looked at this now, what was that, 35 minutes?
Yep.
Yeah. If I'd look at that now, we'd probably find the use of like 25 spices, maybe. And I wasn't aware that I used at least 15 of them. 10 were maybe pre-planned. But they just come as a natural sense of order.
I guess that a lot of people wouldn't be able to do this in just 2 hours. I mean, this is also your core subject.
Yeah.
So it allows for you to just pull out the best things that you know and then put it into the topic of the talk. Yeah. What was the difference? If you would have done this, because this was a digital broadcast that we did the webinar, if it would have been in a room, would you have done it differently? Or is it the same?
Well, I think the planning would have been the same. The rehearsal, the simulation in my head would be the same. The use of spices would have been the same. I probably used it maybe a bit more practice because that's easier in a room. At least like getting people to stand up. I did a keynote yesterday, 90 minutes in front of 600 people. It was one of our own open sessions. And I started that off by doing like an exciting exercise on how you can double any emotion that you have in your body at any point of time. And then I brought them up standing. We did this just brilliant exercise that I've come up with, which is so much fun. We do the stone, paper, scissors, you know? And we talk about focus questions. And like there's a focus question which is performance. So a lot of humans like have performance as a focus question. But before I say that, I ask them to do the stone, paper, scissors, right? So they go, and you can just see how every one of these 600, they're like, I'm going to win this, I'm going to win this, I'm going to win this, I'm going to win this. This is performance, this is performance. Then I ask them, who won? And then reluctantly, maybe like 100 people raised their arm. And some weren't really agreed. Some looked out like, oh, I won, no, you won, I won. And then I asked them, did you really win? Like, did you win at life? Because your focus question is, how can I perform? So let's change that to how can I have fun? So now I want you all to do rock, paper, scissors once more. But this time, the one who wins is the one who has most fun. So the person who has most fun will be the person who raises their hand, okay? And now they go at it, and they are so creative. They use their entire body to become a scissor. They use their entire body to become a rock so they can like hitting the other person or rocking the other person. And then they're done and I go, who won? And 400 people raises their hand. And they're like, you won, but you didn't win in the game. You won because you had most fun. And was it more fun? Were you more relaxed? Absolutely. Did you find it more engaging? Oh, no doubt. And I think that's what it comes down to when it comes to presentations as well, to have more, create situations like that just make life more fun. So I love doing that in a physical realm as much as possible. I try to do it as much as possible in digital, but there's just this little advantage when it comes to physical. So yeah, I'd say that would be the difference. But, just the delivery of a digital one is that people can so easily do something else. They can so easily look at their mobile phone, right? And I can't see it. But in a physical situation, they usually show respect by, I'm not going to look at my mobile phone. But in digital, they don't have to show that respect. And by the lack of that respect, you have to fill that void with something else. And that is dopamine. That is the sensation of grabbing and holding attention. So in digital, I absolutely love digital. I adore digital. I really hope it's here to stay for now and forever. But you have to be better. It's just no doubt. You have to probably put 100% more effort in order to hold and grab the attention of, say, 500 people in a similar way that you would do in a physical presence. And it's possible. We've done full day trainings. Last we've done it with Microsoft on self-development training. And at the end of these 8 hours, they go, wow, I cannot believe I have sat in a Zoom meeting for 8 hours. If somebody would have told me this like weeks ago, I would have shot myself, literally, if somebody forced me to do that. David, I didn't even know I was here for 8 hours. This felt like 1 hour. This was amazing. This was the best Teams experience I've ever had, like bar none. Nothing even comes close to it. So yeah, the digital thing isn't the problem. It's the way that we don't take it seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. It was great getting insights on this. I love it. We'll see how we do our next webinar. If I just shoot over a topic again, or if you want us to, if you enjoyed it, we'll keep on doing it
spontaneously. Yeah. No. It's best,
it feels like the best way for us to work together. Not sure that it fits everyone, but in this case, it does.
I'm thinking of it. It's a bit like art, isn't it? Presenting, like when you present something. It can be an art form. It's a kind of art, right? So if it's art, it means that the person presenting is the artist. And the more they're allowed to be free, usually, the better an artist is at whatever they do. Because as soon as you contain an artist who loves to paint or loves to do music, and they get this contract, and the contract states that you have to produce these 10 songs by the end of May, otherwise we will sue you. And the poor artist, which usually thrives on creativity, gets their creativity killed by being boxed in, framed in. So I think that's something that's worth thinking about when it comes to presenting. When you're doing your presentation, you have your own kind of art, maybe you're a graffiti artist, maybe you're a classical artist, I don't know. But you don't have to be like me, you don't have to be like others. Do your thing, use the skills, use the spices. Don't contain yourself, don't restrict yourself too much. Have fun, enjoy, and paint. Talk.
Beautiful.
And by the way, we have not mentioned what the webinar was about, what these 3 things were, nor the 9 sub-things.
No.
Was that your intention?
No, not really. In a way.
Is that next episode?
I think like this. If you, as a listener to this podcast, if you're interested in what this webinar was about and you want to watch it, we'll leave a link in the show notes so that you can go in and just watch it.
Okay.
So just go in. If it sounds interesting, if it's something that you didn't see, sign up to it. Check out the webinar. Yeah. It's there. It's for free. It's nothing. So this was just a way of understanding what lies behind and how we actually approach doing it.
Cool. Well, you're the boss. I'm good with that, man.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool. Well, before we round off, we wanted to add a new thing to the webinar. It was a skill of the week.
Oh, yes. All right.
Have you prepared one?
I have not prepared one.
No.
Let me do it now. All right. I'm jumping into the skill chart.
Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll pull a skill out of the 110 step sheet for every week that we release a podcast show. And David will go through the skill and just use this, try it out this week, see what happens. If you can add it into your presentations, watch the difference, and then come back for next week, grab another one, and just keep on going.
Yeah, okay. There's so many sweethearts here, man. There are so many sweethearts. 110 to pick from.
Take one that's easy to implement.
All right, 33.
Perfect.
It's a sweet one. Okay, I love this. I do this every keynote, every presentation, literally every meeting. Literally, if you were to come and eat dinner with me, I would be using skill 33. And it's sound effects with your hands. So if you look at me when I present, I tend to maybe come to I go like, and that's number 1, and that's number 2, and then we have number 3. So I do just a clap before number 3, or I can snap my fingers when I say, I went into the room, I waited 5 seconds. Bit slower on the end. Always good. Pause. So I snap my fingers, I clap my hands, I hit the table, I knock on the door, I knock on the whiteboard, I make sounds with the use of my hands. And it's different from making sounds with your mouth, which is a different skill. So I enjoy this one.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to implement in practically anything that you're doing. Instead of just pointing to your whiteboard or your flip chart, instead of just pointing to it, if you knock on what you're pointing on, you use this skill. So the question is then, why? Well, human beings are instinctively prone to focus on sounds. So if you're out walking in the woods, Lucas, and I know you hate zombies, right? Yeah. So you're out there, you're going like, oh, I'm walking away, and there's not a person nearby you anywhere, right? And then you start hearing, you hear a noise to the right of you, which resembles a snap of a twig, which resembles the snap of a twig that you saw in a movie where a zombie was coming at a person in the movie, yeah? Where will your attention go?
But to the twig.
To the twig. Every single ounce of attention you have in your entire body will go to the twig. Like your hearing, your smell, your visuals. And you're like, what's that? What's going on? What was that? Was that a zombie? And it's obviously not, Lucas. I just have to say. It is more likely to be a...
This is so ridiculous. I'm so afraid of zombies.
It's funny. It's more likely it's just like a small animal or something like that, or it just broke by itself. Yeah. But that's the thing. Any human is instinctively focused on a sound or noise when we're walking in the woods, because it may be something dangerous. And we can use that instinctive behavior in a presentation situation by snapping our fingers, because that then grabs attention. So yeah, every time you do that, don't point, knock. Instead of not counting, snap your fingers. Instead of going, we're going to move into this, are you ready? And then you just do a clap. Okay.
Brilliant.
33. There we go.
Yes.
That's a good one.
Well,
skill of the week.
Try it.
Yes.
That's it for today. Thank you, David. And for you as a listener, if you're interested in our webinar, check out the link in the show notes. I don't have it in front of me, so I won't be able to spell it out.
Yeah.
But check out that one if you're interested. See you next week.
Yes. Cheerio.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Lucas.
Bye-bye.